And going into my last team, San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to start off right now with a hot-ass take. I don't know if you're ready for this, but I'm going to burn your face, dog. I'm
I
going to burn
love
your
it. I
face,
love it.
dog. George Kittle's overrated as fuck, bro. He's overrated, dog. He's being overdrafted. Um, he was great when all the targets were going to him and they were being thrown by a stationary QB like Jimmy G. Okay? But now we have a running QB like Lance coming in. And I know people say, well, maybe Jimmy's going to start the whole year. I don't see it, though. I don't see how you as an organization can trade 3 first-round picks for a player and then not play him, right? I mean, why did you need to spend 3 first-round picks on a player if Jimmy G could get you where you needed to go, right? You could have used that to bulk the team up in other places. Lance is, I think, we've talked about this in our other shows. I'm a big believer in Lance. The guy has a freaking rocket for an arm, and he can run. He can run for 1,000 yards. So you have Jimmy G as a stationary quarterback who used to throw to the tight end. Now you're gonna have a running quarterback like Lance, and when you're a running quarterback, that means there's gonna be a little less passing attempts going on. You have Brandon Ayuk, who I think is going to emerge as the true alpha on this team. I believe Brandon Ayuk is going to be the number one passing option on this team sooner rather than later. And you also have Debo. So before, when it was just Kittle, now you got Kittle, you got Debo, you got Brandon Ayuk, and you got a QB that's probably going to be throwing a little bit less. It's math, people. It's math. Kittle's target share is going to drop. Now, you also add that Kittle missed 2 games in 2019, and he missed another 8 games in 2020. He's turning 28 in October. And tight ends take punishment in the NFL. A lot of people think that running backs are the most injury-prone position, and they're the ones that get injured the most. But people forget that tight ends are blockers too, and George Kittle is a big-time blocker. And what is blocking? That's when one human being goes and tries to hit the other human being as hard as they can, constantly back and forth to get them out of the way. So you're constantly fighting another human being, and on top of that, you're catching the ball and getting tackled. So tight ends wear themselves out, bro. So you have these injuries starting to pile up. You have a lower target share, in my opinion, that's going to be happening. I was never that much in on Kittle. He had that one big year. He had a good year after that. But other than that, it's been a lot more hype than actual fantasy points. So if I could sell Kittle for Hawkinson plus, I would. If you could somehow get Pitts for Kittle, I would do it. Speaking of injured players, I love Debo. But if he doesn't stay healthy this year, I'm done with him. I'm done. He's been. Yeah, I heard it on a podcast, and I wish that I could say the name of the podcast. I completely forgot, but they mentioned it, and I went back and looked. Debo has been injured almost every year of his career, going back to high school, dog. Going back to high school. So if he hasn't been able to do it since then, I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do it now. And I think that's why they keep drafting those type of players, those yak type of players. He's a great player, and his yak ability is off the charts. But again, you need availability to play. And if he's not going to be available, they're going to move on from him, and I'm going to move on from him. Let's talk Sermon, bro. Uh, I just don't see what the hype is about Trey Sermon, bro. I went back and looked, bro. He has a 4.66 40. That scares me. I don't like that shit. He has a 16.5% college dominator. It's a horrible percentage. That scares me. In 4 years, he played in college for 4 years. He never ran for over 1,000 yards. He never caught more than 16 passes. And only one season did he have double digits. And this is college, bro, where people put up crazy ass numbers. He couldn't get 1,000 yards. He couldn't catch more than 16 passes. He couldn't get double digit touchdowns more than once. And he's getting drafted in the first round in rookie drafts. And to me, this just shows how shitty this draft class really was this year. Because I don't think in normal drafts, Trey Sermon would have sniffed the mid-second round, bro. You got Mostert there, who's electric, but he can't stay healthy. You got Elijah Mitchell, another running back they drafted in the 6th round. You got Jeff Wilson, who we got to wait for him to come back from injury, and they made a priority to sign Wayne Gallman in free agency. The backfield is a mess. I might draft Gallman or Mitchell at the end of drafts as possible lottery tickets, but after I'm out, bro. It's not worth the headache for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from that team right now. For me, I think Jimmy G starts off the season, and if they're not winning the season, like if they don't have a winning record by like mid-season, I think they bring in Lance. Because hear me out here. Lance didn't really play great competition in college. I don't think he's ready to go, bro. I know that you said that they traded three first round picks, which I thought was absurd. To get a guy that's really not ready, he played the least out of all the quarterbacks, he played the least competition, the least best competition out of all of them. His size, his athleticism, it's great, but he needs time to develop. That's why I'm a little, iffy about picking this guy up so early. But I mean, it's a toss up. Like I said, I think Jimmy G gets a starting nod. They're gonna play him. And if he does the job, they're gonna keep him there, and they're gonna have Lance on the sidelines. Now, if shit goes to the and hits the fan, they're gonna bring in Lance because that's when the excuse that you're saying is gonna pop up. Well, we traded three first round picks for this guy. It's time for him to show us something. That's where I'm at with this team. As far as the running back situation, I'm all on board with you. I love Mostert. He can't stay healthy. I'm with you on the. I don't know what the big deal about Sermon is. I actually like Elijah Mitchell better than him, and I think he's a safer pickup and a lottery ticket, possible lottery ticket in the 6th round or in the 5th round or even in free agency. I just like I'm in agreement with you. I think this draft was so bad that a guy like Sermon goes in the 1st round.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other explanation for it, bro. There really isn't, dude. A 4.66, 40 and horrible college dominator and never running for 1,000 yards is going as your first round in your rookie draft and you're excited. That says something about the draft class. So I'm glad I didn't really get any Trey Sermon. So I'm not sad about it. I don't care.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to pick up a couple of shares of Trey Sermon because I was trying to pull a trade. I was trying to move back to the following year and get a 1st round pick. Nobody was biting, and he was the best player available. And I needed a running back, and I hated it.
And that's a good point, right? For people out there listening, right? You can't trade back. You grab a player that maybe you're not sold on, but who can probably maybe gain some value, right? So as soon as we get into training camp, and Trey Sermon, because don't forget, Mostert's always banged up, and Jeff Wilson is recovering from surgery, so they're going to be giving Sermon a lot of the work. So
Yep.
once those little things come out of training camp, Sermon's getting work. That's when you flip and try to sell him. That's when you sell them. Either you. The problem is you don't want to get too sucked in. You got to. A lot of times you got to stick with your takes if you really believe them. If you believe that Sermon's nothing special, and you believe that it's going to be a headache owning a running back in this backfield because you never know who's going to pop off. Then the minute that those positive reports come out of camp, you got to remember your true feelings about Sermon, and you gotta try to sell him, get something for him, and you can get. That's when he'll start being worth a lot. He'll be worth a 1st round pick next year. He'll be worth a running back plus something else because then people start to fall in love with Shanahan. Makes good running backs. Yeah, the running back in the Shanahan offense is great, but the problem is you never know who that running back is going to be. Is it going to be Mostert? Is it going to be Wilson? Is it going to be Gallman? Is it going to be Mitchell? That's a shit ton of problems to worry about, brother. I don't want to deal with that nonsense, man. So that's I feel that pain, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from that backfield, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of mustard. I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of mustard, but I'm staying away from that because that's like in New England. That's like getting Belichick. You don't know who's gonna start. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, you don't. You want to try to stay away from that headache.
Yeah. Definitely.
Big reason, and I'm not by any means. shitting on the player, but that's why a big reason why I stayed away from Ramon Stevenson this year. He was sitting there in so many drafts, and I'm like, to be honest with you, I stick by my rules. I don't draft any running backs from New England, and it's not the player, it's not the talent, it's that they're gonna make a game plan for each game, and depending on of the weaknesses of the other team, they're gonna make that game plan to that team. What running back fits that game plan, you don't know. You're not in that facility, you don't know who they're going to go with, so you're blind. You're going into and you don't want to do that. You want to win games. You want to be sure when you start somebody that they're going to get you points. So yeah, if I have to, I'll start them, but I try to stay away from those backfields, man. I want backfields that are legitimate. That for me, those are illegitimate backfields because you don't know who's gonna start. Not because of the talent. It's just those coaches, they go by game plan, and whomever the game plan. Just like a perfect example, like Brady. Brady's gonna pick you apart depending on what defense you throw at him. So like I said in one of the other previous podcasts, one game is gonna be Mike Evans, one game is gonna be Godwin, one game is gonna be Antonio Brown, the other game is gonna be a combination of them, because that's what Brady does. He does the game plan week to week. Same thing with the running back situation with San Francisco and New England. Their game plans, they do game plans on each game. Whoever fits the game plans the best is who they're gonna start. So, do you want to be on that side of the coin? I don't.
No, yeah, it's not worth the headache, brother.